He didn't say those exact words. But listen closely to what Marshals showrunner Spencer Hudnut actually told The Hollywood Reporter. If the stars aligned, having Beth and Rip in the world of Marshals would be, in his words, pretty cool. He said it again, almost the same way, to Entertainment Weekly. If Kayce, Rip, and Beth reunited at some point, he said, he's sure everybody would like it. That's not a rumor. That's not a leak. That's the man running this show. On the record. Twice. And now, heading into season 2, that comment means something very different than it did back in March. Welcome to Next Episode Hub. Before we get into why this offhand comment might end up defining the biggest fall premiere on network television, if you're new here, I'd genuinely appreciate a subscribe. It helps a channel like this keep close watch on every Yellowstone World update as it happens. Okay, let's lay out exactly what's been said, when, and why it matters more now than it did the first time. Marshals premiered on CBS on March 1, 2026. It follows Kayce Dutton, played by Luke Grimes, as he leaves ranch life behind and joins an elite Montana-based U.S. Marshals unit. Showrunner Spencer Hudnut, who pitched the series to Taylor Sheridan, has said the show intentionally shook up Kayce's world early, using his wife Monica's off-screen death to push him into this next chapter. Season 1 ran 13 episodes and concluded on May 24, 2026. Meanwhile, on the other side of the Yellowstone Universe, a second spin-off was building toward its own debut. Dutton Ranch, starring Reilly as Beth and Hauser as Rip, premiered on Paramount Plus on May 15, 2026, with a 2-episode debut. That season ran 9 episodes and wrapped on July 3, 2026, for the first time since the original Yellowstone ended in December 2024. Both surviving Dutton siblings were back on screen in the same stretch of the calendar. That overlap is exactly what prompted The Hollywood Reporter to ask Hudnut the obvious question. Would Marshals ever bring Beth and Rip into Kayce's story? His answer wasn't a no. If the stars aligned, he said, that would be pretty cool to have them in this world. He added that he and Luke Grimes had talked about the idea before, and that the real challenge was simply coordinating 2 separate productions. He gave a similar answer to Entertainment Weekly around the same time, saying that if Kayce, Rip, and Beth ever reunited, he was sure everybody would like it, while noting that right now, both shows are forging their own paths. Now here's where it's worth being precise, because precision matters here. Hudnut has never said on record that Kayce and Beth deserve to reunite. That specific phrase hasn't come from him directly, but when you line up everything he has actually said, the sentiment behind it is hard to miss. He's the one who brought up the idea unprompted in multiple interviews. He's the one who called a reunion something fans would like. He's the one who confirmed he's already discussed the possibility privately with the actor who plays Kayce. That's not someone shutting a door. That's someone leaving it wide open, repeatedly, on the record. So let's rewind a bit further because this conversation didn't start with Dutton Ranch's premiere. It started back in Marshall's very first season. In episode 2, Kayce and his son Tate have a conversation about who's managing East Camp while Kayce takes on his new marshal duties. Kayce tells Tate that Rip already arranged temporary help at the ranch until they find a more permanent solution. That's the first real acknowledgement inside the show itself that Beth and Rip still exist in this world, still care about this family, and are only a phone call away. Hudnut also confirmed ahead of the premiere that a couple of characters from the wider Yellowstone universe would appear during season 1. He didn't specify Beth or Rip by name at that point, but he did tell TV Line directly that Kayce still has a sister and brother-in-law out there, and that a reunion is, in his words, always potentially on the horizon. He followed that by admitting he isn't sure yet how the 2 productions would actually make it work logistically. So across 3 separate interviews with 3 separate outlets, the same showrunner keeps circling back to the same idea. Not confirming it, not denying it, just consistently telling us it's something he wants. Something the audience wants and something that's technically possible if the scheduling ever lines up. Now let's bring this forward to where we actually are right now, heading into fall 2026. Marshals was renewed for a second season just 12 days after its March premiere. A remarkably fast turnaround for any network drama. That renewal came on the back of genuinely massive numbers. According to Nielsen data reported by multiple outlets, the Marshals premiere drew over 20 million multi-platform viewers within its first week, and the show averaged around 20 million multi-platform viewers across its first 8 episodes. Season 2 has been in production since June 2026, filming on location in Park City, Utah, with CBS placing it on the fall schedule. A Season 2 teaser has already been released, and according to reporting on that footage, Hudnut was asked once again, now that Dutton Ranch is actually airing alongside Marshals, whether a crossover between Beth, Rip, and Kayce could still happen. His answer, reported just this month, was the same tone as before. Pretty cool, if the stars align. Think about the timing of that repeated comment. This isn't Hudnut speculating about a hypothetical future show that doesn't exist yet. Dutton Ranch has now actually aired. Beth and Rip are confirmed working characters with a completed first season under their belts. Kayce's show is confirmed for a second season, already in production, premiering this fall. The obstacle Hudnut has always cited, 2 separate productions trying to find a shared window, is arguably smaller right now than it has ever been, because both shows now have finished at least 1 season and are actively moving forward in the same production universe. That's what makes this moment different from every previous time he's been asked this question. It's no longer 2 showrunners discussing an abstract possibility. It's 2 currently active, currently successful shows, both owned by the same connected universe, both with a creative lead who has now said multiple times that he wants this to happen. So let's talk about why that matters for how big Season 2 of Marshals could actually become this fall. Marshals is already one of the most watched new dramas on network television this year, based on its premiere and 8-episode average numbers. Dutton Ranch, airing on Paramount+, gave the wider Yellowstone audience its first extended look at Beth and Rip since the flagship series ended. If Season 2 of Marshals is the season where Hudnut's repeated on-record comments finally turn into something on screen, even a brief appearance, even a single scene, that's not just a plot development. That's the culmination of a story Hudnut himself has been quietly building in interviews since before Marshals even premiered. And even if it doesn't happen this exact season, the way Hudnut keeps bringing it up, unprompted, across nearly every major interview he gives, tells you this is not a closed door he's tired of being asked about. It's a door he keeps choosing to leave open. Every time a journalist asks, he could easily shut it down with a simple, no, not planned, moving on. He hasn't done that once, not in March, not in the lead-up to Dutton Ranch's premiere. Not now, heading into the Season 2 rollout. That consistency is the real story here. It's easy to dismiss one quote as a showrunner being polite in an interview. It's much harder to dismiss the same sentiment, repeated across separate conversations with separate outlets over the course of several months, especially once the practical roadblock he cited early on has largely disappeared. Now, let's be fair to where the uncertainty actually sits, because that matters too. Hudnut has never confirmed a date. He's never confirmed a script. He's never confirmed casting for a crossover scene. Everything here is intention, not announcement. But intention, stated this consistently, from the person actually in charge of the show, is not nothing. It's the clearest signal fans have gotten that this reunion is being actively discussed behind the scenes, not just wished for by the audience. And with Marshals heading into what's shaping up to be its biggest season yet, riding strong renewal numbers, an expanded production, and a fan base that has now seen both surviving Dutton siblings thriving in their own separate shows, the pressure for that reunion to finally happen has never been higher. So here's what I want to know from you. Do you think Hudnut's repeated comments are building toward an actual appearance this season? Or do you think this is simply a showrunner being diplomatic every time the question comes up? Would a Beth and Kayce reunion feel earned at this point, given everything both characters have been through separately? Or do you think the shows are stronger keeping their own paths, exactly the way Hudnut described early on? Let me know where you land in the comments. I genuinely want to hear which side of this you're on. And if you want to be here the moment this reunion is either confirmed or ruled out for good, subscribe to Next Episode Hub so you don't miss it. Because right now, the man running this show keeps telling us the door is open. We just don't know yet if fall 2026 is the season he finally walks through it.